Hello, this is the Irish Guy Extra, and look, okay, it's fine. I've calmed down now, okay. Yeah, well, the last video in this channel, that was... Even I was surprised by that. I literally just sat in this chair and just vomited rage. Yeah, but no, seriously, that time where Derby was an absolute disgrace. It was a disaster. It was all of the worst words you can possibly think of. But look, this game is not me still venting about that match for a fourth video in a row on 2 channels. No, okay? But I want to talk about today is the championship race to get back into the Premier League. Because what I find, 2 massive subplots about the Premier League season that I find pretty interesting and enthralling every year is who goes down and who comes up. Now, the Premier League relegation battle has gotten more boring than any episode of EastEnders. I'd imagine, I've never seen the show, but I'd imagine it's, yeah, duller than eating fried eggs out of a shoe. Yeah, no, the Premier League relegation battle has been, I've been really disappointed with it the last 3 years because we have seen 2 seasons in a row now where the 3 promoted teams come up and go down without so much as a fight. And even this season, we could very realistic. I mean, Wolves are terrible. They're an absolute garbage elephant vomit team, sure. But we can realistically see both Burnley and Leeds go back down, which means that it'll be, what, 8 out of 9 promoted teams going back down, and the only one that stays up is Sunderland. Oh, isn't that just an ironic twist of fate? I love the relegation battle, but if you give me just one promoted team who stays up, and that's a team who beats Newcastle in the time where Derby, then oh, lads, that really will feel like, I don't know, picking worms out of my teeth. But look, what is always interesting is who comes up from the championship, because that is not predictable. The relegation fight might be predictable, but not the championship promotion race. That's always interesting. And lads, I'm always torn about who I want to come up, because for a couple of years now, I was wanting big clubs back in the Premier League who I hadn't seen for a long time. Some of them ever. Like, I had never seen Nottingham Forest in the Premier League before. I wanted to see that. I hadn't seen Leeds in the Premier League since... I mean, I saw 1 season of them in the Prem, and that was when they were getting beaten every week in 2004, when they were an absolute disgrace. That was when I was first getting into football, and I couldn't work out why there were so many Irish Leeds fans. Like, why are you supporting them when they're a bad team? I didn't realise when I was a child that, oh yeah, they'd recently been in a Champions League semi-final with a whole bunch of Irish players. I didn't know that, but look, I wanted them to come back up under Marcelo Bielsa because we hadn't seen them in the Premier League for a while, and they're a big club. Same with Forest. But at the same time, I also really want to see tiny, scrawny, unbelievably small underdogs in the Premier League, because I think that's a good laugh. Like, I found it so refreshing in the biggest league in the world for one of the members to be Luton Town, who had a stadium in somebody's garden. Literally, as you're going into the steps of Luton's ground, you're literally walking past some old woman putting underpants on her washing line. Like, I thought that was great. And I'd have loved if Luton had stayed up and been here for a while. Similarly, I loved when Blackpool were in the league. And I've told Ian Holloway this to his face. They were my favourite neutral Premier League team of all time. A breath of fresh air, breathtaking. I told him that. And then he got everyone to laugh at my jeans. Well, I think Jill Scott was too awkward to laugh. She didn't know what was going on. But yeah, that was a charity game that I was at, actually in Sunderland Stadium a couple of... let's talk about that club. Seriously, lads. I mean, I'm kind of calmed down about the game, but still, whenever I have flashbacks to Sunday afternoon, it's kind of like the flashbacks you have when you remember that you walked in your granny in the bath when you were 6. But look, I want to look at what teams, because I don't even know what championship teams I want to come up. I like through the playoffs, because the championship season, all I know about this season is that it's very tight, and like half the league could realistically come up. So I think now is as good a time as ever to have a look at the table and just see, who do I want to come up? Because yes, on one hand, I've wanted giants to be in the Premier League, but at the same time, I've wanted absolute tiny minnows to be up there. And yeah, honestly, lads, that Blackpool team, I love it so much because they went into every game trying to win, even though they had the budget of a snail. And like, they took 39 points that season. They deserve far better than getting relegated with 39 points. Yeah, like they were losing games 3-2, winning 4-3. Oh, they were absolute. And they did all this with like nobodies. Like they had one quality player in there, and even that was a chubby Charlie Adam, who grew up to be a Liverpool flop. Like it was a complete. Yeah, it was just a delightfully sloppy mess, and I loved it. That team could not defend, but they could score goals for fun. And Ian Holloway as well, when he was having a go with the FA because they fined him for feeling, I suppose, weakened team against Aston Villa in a game where they nearly won at Aston Villa with really, absolute chip sandwich footballers. It was beautiful. So I want to see more teams like that. So let's see, look at the championship table. Who do I want to come up, right? Let's see. So top running away with it, as there's a team running away with it every year. This time it's Coventry. Yes. Big thumbs up to that because I have never seen them in the Premier League before. I know they were in it back in the early 2000s and the late 90s with the likes of Craig Bellamy up front. Sure. I mean, I know Coventry are a big club, but I've never seen them in the top flight. And so usually when a team runs away with it at the top of the league, like in recent years we've seen Leicester City do it. It's not exciting. It's usually always, I think if you look back at the last number of championship winners, it's usually always a team who's just been relegated because they got the parachute payments and it's just so obvious they're going to be top. But I always find that so boring to see. Like I remember Bertha Fisher being Reading when they won the championship title with 105 points back in 2006. They had never been in the Premier League before. That was lovely. Okay, it was great to see it being Reading instead of one of the relegated teams like Wolves or Leicester back then. Or who else went down? Norwich, Crystal Palace, any one of them. Or Southampton. Probably should have been. Yeah, how did Southampton not win the league back then? Yeah, but look. So a big club of Coventry. I want to see them back in the Premier League, sure. And I've always thought Frank Lampard was a better manager than he was given credit for. Like, I don't think he's a top quality one, but in terms of big, massive, former English celebrities, world-class footballers, he's the best one of this generation who's gone into management. Out of that golden generation featuring, Gerrard, Rooney, Terry, other players who you'd assumed would be Ashley Cole, Gary Neville. Like, there's a lot of players you'd have tipped to be a manager before Frank Lampard. Because let's be honest, as a player, wonderful player, but he was as quiet as a mouse on the pitch. In the same way, it's weird how Zidane went on to win 3 Champions Leagues. Again, he was another mute footballer. But look, I'm happy with Coventry being top. Middlesbrough being second. Look, I've never really wanted Middlesbrough to come up because I remember them being a boring sludge puppet of a team in the Premier League. I mean, okay, I know they beat Man City 8-1 once and reached the Europa League final. Okay, I don't mean that team. I mean the one that came up with Karanka 10 years ago and just absolutely bored everybody to tears. They were just dull as Mosley. Yeah, so I don't, and they went back. Yeah, it was just. Look, I know that Middlesbrough team's a long time ago, and this one should be better, but I should want Middlesbrough back up because they're a semi-big club we haven't seen in the Premier League for a while, so it's not like one of the boring bozos like Southampton or Leicester coming back up. I should be more enthused about them coming up, but I'm just not. Even growing up, I always looked at Middlesbrough being a boring football club. I know it's mean to say, and it's harsh, because they were anything but boring when they reached that UEFA Cup final. They were winning games in the last minute 4-3. Massimo Macaroni last minute. I know they were exciting that season, but I don't know. It's everything about Middlesbrough. The stadium, the badge. I am not personally excited by them. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I probably am wrong. I know this feels unfair. I know it is, because I've no reason to feel this way about you. Maybe it really is just that Ida Karanka team, which just left such a. I know I should have loved Karanka because he was Jose Mourinho's former puppet. Like, he was his Miss Piggy to his Kermit. He was the guy fetching him tea at Real Madrid, but I just could not get on board with that Borough team. I found them so boring. So look, they're coming up. Look, okay. If it's Coventry and Middlesbrough as the top 2 promoted teams coming straight up, look, we haven't seen Middlesbrough in the Premier League for a while. We haven't seen Coventry in the Premier League for decades. So I'd be pretty happy with that. But let's look at who's in the playoffs. Okay, Preston, Millwall, Ipswich, and Hull all separated by just 1 point. Yeah. Anyone but Ipswich. I wanted Ipswich to come up last time because, again, like Coventry, I'd never seen them in the Premier League before. I just missed it. But, I mean, I have seen them last season and they got relegated and nothing's changed. They've got the same manager at the wheel and a lot of the same players. I don't want them to come up. I know what's going to happen. They're not going to make the relegation battle any more exciting. No, they will be an easy, obvious one to pick to go down, and they will go down. Nothing different will happen. So, look, Preston, yeah, I'd like to see Preston up. I'd like to. They're the former invincibles of English football back in the 1920s or whatever. They're a football club which probably makes historians weak at the knees. Someone like, Alfie's probably drooling into an ice cream when he thinks of them as we speak. But yeah, I'd like to see. Oh, yeah, okay, why not? Give Preston a promotion because, I mean, they've been the most boring club in England for years. They haven't been promoted. They were always hovering around the playoffs 20 years ago. They lost playoff finals, never came up. They went down to League One and then just came up with just boring mid-table season after mid-table season. And even like 2 years ago, they began the season with like 7-0 and a 1-0 win. Like, it's just so boring. The Freddie Woodman era of Preston North End. So, yeah, I'd like to see them in the Premier League. It would be kind of fun. Millwall would scare me. They are the big bad guys of English football. They are the zombies of English football. You know, the Hills of Eyes, those fans, letting them into Premier League stadiums. Like, imagine them coming to St. James's Park next season. But I do like a good villain in a Disney film. So it could be exciting to see, you know, the Millwall fans in the Premier League. Why not? Why not let them in? Yeah, it would be kind of interesting. Hull City then. I don't know. I've seen a lot of Hull in the Premier League. I know it's a new iteration of Hull. We haven't seen them in the top flight for a while, but I mean, I've already seen them be a breath of fresh air in the league. Back in 2008, when I was a kid, I've seen them. They were third in November. I've been mentioning it all year when I keep saying that Sunderland are going to fall off like Hull did. And I've seen them be a semi-decent team under Steve Bruce. I don't know. I've seen Hull in the league many seasons before. So this won't really excite me. After them is Stoke. Again, like Preston, I think the Stoke fans could do with their promotion because they've honestly been the most boring, predictable team in England since getting relegated 7 years ago. Always finishing 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, like just dull as dishwater. So for the Stoke fans, I'd be happy to see them back up and see what modern day Stoke looks like in the Premier League because, you know, we all just remember them for being the Tony Pulis long throw team, but surely they've evolved, surely they've morphed, surely they've added a bit more to their game. So yeah, it'll be quite fun. 8th is Leicester City. No, thank you. I do not want to see Leicester City come back up. I do not want to see Leicester City turn into this sort of predictable yo-yo team who comes up and gets relegated, I don't want to see them turn into Burnley. It would be so undignified for a team who literally won the Premier League 10 years ago. Seriously, I think it'd be better if we could just let them rebuild in the Championship for a number of years. We can all forget about them and then they can come back when they're actually ready to do something because they're not ready to do nothing now. That was proven last season when it was the feeblest effort I've ever seen from a reigning Premier League champion, and I've seen Blackburn go down. After them is QPR, who are hanging around the playoff spots. I think QPR coming up, I don't know. I've already seen QPR be that nutty, crazy, weird friend at a party. You know, the one who turns up and tries to steal all the attention by standing on a couch eating toilet paper whilst humming along to a Britney Spears song. Like, that was QPR back in 2012 when they came up and tried to sign every big megastar on the planet. Bringing in Julio Cesar, Sean Wright Phillips. It was kind of like what Nottingham Forest did if they'd kept going with the Jesse Lingard signings, if they kept signing players on the caliber of him. That's what QPR did back then, paying over the odds for these Champions League winning superstars who were so over the hill and washed. They basically signed a team of Lingards. Like what Forest did with that one mistake with Lingard, but at least Forest, they went out there and signed like Morgan Gibbs-White, like quality players like that, and now Elliot Anderson, but no, QPR, they were crazy. So I've seen QPR be wacky and fun in the Premier League before, like absolutely nuts. And I've seen them. They were involved in literally the most iconic Premier League game of all time with the Aguero goal. So like, I don't know. I think if QPR come back up, I don't think you can top that. Seriously, I mean, it's like recasting the Joker in any Batman film. Like, we've already seen peak Heath Ledger. Like, nothing's going to top that. So, I think we've kind of already seen QPR do their stuff in the Premier League. Like, if they come up and... Are they going to sign crazy signings that make us go... No, they've already signed Rio Ferdinand and Josie Basingua and all these major megastars, which did not work. And it was great to see the carnage, but, yeah, I just don't think they would do much... I don't think they could top that. So no, not them. Now, Southampton are in 10th. Southampton, who have had a bit of a resurgence ever since dumping their hipster flavour of the month, Will Still, who right now is probably back to playing Football Manager in his underpants and shoving chicken nuggets up his nose or whatever ginger hipsters do. I don't know. But look, he's been replaced by what's even his name? Tonga? Some assistant, basically the modern day Ruben Selles, who's actually had a new manager bounce. But no, I don't want to see Southampton come up because they were so pathetic last time. Same way I wouldn't want to see Sheffield United back in the league. Okay, it's just a cycle of yo-yo iterations of a club, and they just never learned their lessons. So no, I don't want to see Southampton come up just to get relegated again. No, so that's a big fat no to them, thanks. Then there's Bristol City, Derby County, and Birmingham. Now we're talking. Bristol City. I wanted Bristol City to get promoted last season because I've never seen a tiny little club like them in the Premier League before. Like, I haven't seen them in the Premier League before. So it reminded me a bit of Blackpool. So yeah, I'd be happy to see them up. Derby County, yeah. I think it's time to let Derby County back in because I feel sorry for them. Like, they went down as the worst ever Premier League team, and we haven't seen them since. They have, and by the way, they've come close. Like, it was the biggest ever bottle job in a championship playoff final I've ever seen before when they lost a 10-man QPR. And Steve McLaren, he gets sacked for flirting with Newcastle, and it was all just a big mess. I mean, that Derby team in the championship, the one with Tom Ince on the wing, with Steve McLaren at the wheel, they would have handily beaten the 2008 Premier League outfit Derby County. So, yeah, I want to see Derby come back to sort of, I don't know, put some respect back on their name, because it must be quite embarrassing that they've never been able to, you know, to right the wrongs of their 11-point season back in 2008. It must be so embarrassing that that was their last ever effort in the Premier League. It must be like, I don't know, Francis Ngannou getting wiped out by Anthony Joshua and then never putting on a pair of boxing gloves again. Like, do you really want to go out that way? So yeah, I'd be quite happy to see Derby County back up. Then Birmingham, they're going to come up. They're going to come up. They've already said they're moving into this weird chimney coliseum in the middle of Brum. So yeah, they've got a flash new stadium coming. So it's either, I'd be happy to wait because I know Birmingham it's an inevitability. It's not will they come up, it is when they come up. They've got the money, they've got the ambition. Within 5, we're going to see Birmingham come up. So I'd be happy to wait for Birmingham to come up if it means we're going to get some underdog where it's now or never. Because for Birmingham, this is not now or never. Tom Brady's boys are coming up. If it's not this season, it's next season or the season after. So yeah, I'm prepared to wait. Watford's next. No. I've seen Watford in the Premier League so many times before, and they haven't done. They just, the last time they come up, they were just a miserable, pathetic outfit, and it seems like the Watford ownership have run out of managers. No. Wrexham. Yes, I would love to see this little Disney minnow in the Premier League. It would be amazing. You could probably keep going, actually, because the team in 6th have 34 points. You could probably say that teams within 10 points of that are with a chance coming up, which means that you have to include West Brom, and Charlton. Sheffield United is probably the cutoff on 23 points. Good, guys. I don't want to see them come up. Not unless they're going to do something different this time, but I don't think they will, because they've still got Chris Wilder at the wheel. I don't want him to spend the next 20 years bringing Sheffield United up and getting relegated, coming up and getting relegated. It's just so boring. So no, look, I think West Brom and Charlton are probably the next ones in with a realistic chance of promotion. West Brom, I immediately think no, because again, I have seen that club bounce up and down more than any other. They are the epitome of a yo-yo club, which kind of stopped being a yo-yo after the last time they went down in 2018. So maybe it's time to see them come back up, but I don't know. Between 2004 and 2018, I've just saw them promoted about 3 times and get relegated 3 times? Maybe it was more. But even when they were in the league, it was just a team of Tony Pulis giants who just weren't fun to watch. I haven't been truly excited by a West Brom team since they had Lukaku up front, with Shane Long as the pacey striker playing off him. That really was like a Batman and Robin partnership. So no, I don't want to see West Brom up at all. Charlton, I mean, it's been about 15 years since we saw them in the league. Longer, actually. 2007 when they went down to the Pardew. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to Charlton. I wouldn't say no. But look, if I had to pick one team to come up from that lot I've just mentioned, Preston, Millwall, Ipswich, Hull, Stoke, Leicester, QPR, Southampton, Bristol City, Derby, Birmingham, Watford, Wrexham, West Brom and Charlton. Look, my first choice, if I could pick any of them, probably be Wrexham. Because, you know, it would be an absolute dream miracle for them to have gone from conference to the Premier League inside that length of time, but it's probably not too realistic. So I'm going to pick one in the top 10, because it probably will. I mean, the third promoted team probably will come from the team who are currently in the top 10. It would take a pretty major run of form for another team too. So I'm going to say Preston. Yeah, go on then. Give it Preston, who are third right now. Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see them up. I haven't seen them in the Premier League ever before in my life. And yeah, they've just been one of the most boring, static teams in English football for a while now. I mean, I've seen every other team in the top 10 in the Premier League before, except Millwall, the only one I haven't seen. But I'll be honest, Millwall fans scare me. So yeah, that's a big one. Preston, why not? But let me know in the comments, which team do you want to see come up through the playoffs? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Anyway, that was the end of that. That was just a quick ramble about the championship playoffs. You let me know in the comments though. What do you think? What team do you want to come up? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, please. What for you in a while?